What's up YouTube? Welcome back to another banging video, and in today's video I'm reacting to Good vs Evil SCP Ethics Committee Orientation SCP animation. So I haven't reacted to a SCP animation on this channel in a while, so now I'm bringing the SCP videos to this channel. So if you're new to the channel, I do reactions. Subscribe to the channel for more. I'm definitely trying to hit 100,000 subscribers, so subscribe, comment, like, and share the video, and turn on that post notification bell because I do these videos daily. And let's just hop straight into this reaction.
Member of an elite mobile task force, tracking down an anomaly in a rural village somewhere in the Swiss Alps that was recently detected by SCP Foundation field agents. According to all the current intel, you're dealing with a particularly deadly and hard to contain monster. A shape-shifting entity that can kill with a touch and assume the
A
form
shape-shifting
of
entity that can kill with a touch.
If this thing somehow escaped the village and broke into a major population center, it could blend in perfectly and cause death on a massive scale.
What?
It's up to you
That's
and your
crazy.
team to get this creature secured and contained before that can happen. You're going in heavily armed, with advanced sensory technology and several attack helicopters, each one loaded
So
with
basically
plenty
these
of
guards
powerful
are literally
missiles.
risking their
One
lives.
way or another, you're putting a stop to this thing. But the best laid plans of mobile task force agents go often awry. The mission is a bloodbath. The shape-shifting anomaly has blended in perfectly with the civilians living in the village. Before
You know what's funny is that that's basically what they say when it comes to aliens, because they say that aliens are really already here. I mean, I'm not a super firm alien believer, but I mean, they do say that aliens and everything is like already here, but they're blending in as humans. So that's kind of what this reminds me of in a way. It's like they're basically saying some of these SCP creatures can literally blend in just like human, shape-shifting like humans, like they can look and appear like humans, right? We got some people that believe that aliens are literally here on this planet right now, looking basically like exactly like humans. Let me know down in the comments if you believe that.
And you don't know which of the remaining team members are really themselves. This really couldn't have gone worse. And if you mess this up,
yeah, see, that's what I was about to say too. It's like, how do you know that the guards are not
happens to get close to
SCP creatures either?
Killed or transformed in the battle with the shapeshifter, and you're now sitting at the top of your MTF's chain of command. The way you see it, there's only one option. You radio up to air support, alerting the several attack choppers circling the village. You tell them to rain fire and destroy the whole place. That's the only way to be sure to take out the anomaly. Things have gone beyond the point of easy containment. You sprint past the village limits as the volley of missiles and firebombs raise the formerly quiet.
Bro, what did you really think was gonna actually happen?
You're the only survivor.
You told them to bomb the whole place. You think they're gonna come back for you?
The remains of the shape-shifting anomaly were found amongst the rubble by Foundation personnel. You prevented whatever horrors it would have caused if it had been allowed.
Basically, he sacrificed himself. Even though he survived, that could have went like two ways.
You solemnly return to the containment site you've been deployed from. Your superiors order you to go pay a visit to Conference Room 2. You correctly assume that it's some kind of disciplinary meeting. Maybe the site director chewing you out for shoddy work, but ultimately congratulating you for doing what needed to be done under pressure. After all, making the tough decisions is what working for the SCP Foundation is all about. But when you arrive in the conference room, you're sitting across from a woman you've never seen before. She's tall, with hard, stern-looking features, and a plain but well-tailored suit. Despite being a hardened soldier on the Foundation payroll, something about this woman makes you nervous. She smiles and says, "Hello, I'm with the Foundation Ethics Committee.
Wow.
We need
Is she a robot?
For reasons you don't quite understand, you start to break into a cold sweat. The Ethics Committee? I thought they just existed to scare Foundation employees. I didn't know they had actual authority. But that's where you made a terrible mistake. And from the tight smile on the agent's face, you can tell that the Foundation Ethics Committee has a lot more power than you've ever imagined. Perhaps you know them from the jokes that float around the Foundation circles. How many members of the Ethics Committee does it take to change a light bulb? None. The Ethics Committee can't change anything. Perhaps you heard about the O5 Council's disdain for them. Those bureaucratic pencil pushers with all their rubber stamps and red tape. The jokes
Why is this
don't
guy
seem so
like
funny
pitch
now.
black?
The Ethics Committee representative clears her throat and tells you that you've been reassigned effective immediately. You're now under the employ of the Foundation Ethics Committee, and this
So he just got a pay
change is
raise, or he just got a
non-negotiable.
raise.
You try to state your case in blind panic. Part of you thinks that being reassigned to the Ethics Committee after the mistake you just made is code for being taken into a windowless room and shot in the back of your head. But the agent insists that really isn't the case. The Ethics Committee hates codes and euphemisms. They don't say terminated, they say killed. Because at the Ethics Committee, clarity of language is extremely important.
So if you mess up, they just
horrific acts that
kill
need to be
you.
performed for the sake of containment.
Sacrifice
After all,
a
it's their
child.
job to look these horrors in the face and give the final yes or no on whether they're carried out. As you may know, the SCP Foundation is essentially above all external law. No government, no organization, and no individual can tell them what to do. The 13 members of the O5 Council have almost unlimited
Bro, why are these people
knowledge
just
at
like
their
pitch
disposal,
black?
as well as technology that the rest of the world could only ever dream of. With a setup like that, it would be easy to give in
Bro,
to
they
corruption
looking
and go
so
mad with
evil.
power. If they wanted to, they could abandon their mission of protecting humanity from the shadows, and instead rule the world with an iron.
Bro, those people are looking so evil, just looking all pitch black and everything. Like, I want to do some SCP gaming too. I haven't done that on this channel, but I want to do some SCP gaming. I played a SCP game before and it didn't really go well.
Comes great responsibility. Just as the O5 Council wields the power, the Ethics Committee wields the responsibility. They remind the whole organization that they are here to serve the world, not the other way around. Think of them as the conscience of the SCP Foundation. They decide what's morally acceptable for the Foundation to do in pursuit of its goals.
Is that supposed to be
make
the
sure
guy
that
from the
those
Toy
who
Story
fight
movie?
monsters don't become monsters themselves. As Nietzsche famously said, if you gaze long into an abyss, the abyss
Don't
also
fall.
gazes into you. Right now, you very much feel like you're staring into the abyss, as the Ethics Committee representative calmly explains the situation to you. An important thing to remember about the Foundation is that it must be cold, not cruel. The second that the harm it causes is
Why does
in
it have to
excess
be
of
cold?
the positive results of the Foundation's actions, it's time for the Ethics Committee to step in and dole out some discipline. It is the Ethics Committee's job to balance the moral cost of every action performed by the Foundation, from the degree of collateral damage permissible in the field to the ways that D-classes can be ethically used in testing.
What are you in
While
prison
some
for?
hardcore Foundation loyalists may say that people like the Ethics
Yeah, I always
Committee
found
are
it
standing
with the
in the
SCP
way of
videos. I always found it crazy how basically they sacrifice all the prisoners. I mean, obviously, I obviously understand that they're probably there for a reason because they probably committed a crime or something. But it's like, because I feel like they do that in real life, and that's just not ethically right.
Progress. Giving yourself wholly to the mission without any ethical safeguards can be a dangerous line to walk. At that point, what's separating the Foundation from the Global Occult Coalition or the Chaos Insurgency? Or even worse, their nightmarish alternate selves from the universe of SCP-1730
Bro,
and
that is the
SCP-5000.
definition of an evil
While
scientist.
the Foundation occasionally needs to do some truly horrific things in order to secure, contain, and protect, it is the Ethics Committee that keeps them on the moral high ground. All of this seems pretty
Why are all these
complicated
people
to you
scared?
as you sit, still fearing for your life in Conference Room 2. The Ethics Committee agent explains that it's actually all quite simple once you get used to it. The Ethics Committee uses a moral framework known as utilitarianism. Think of it like the product of
Utilitarianism. Morality plus math.
Specifically, the committee uses an ethical system known as negative utilitarianism.
Negative
This system
utilitarianism.
revolves around the principle of harm reduction. The committee tries to modify every action taken to cause the least amount of possible suffering in a situation, the goal being to eliminate any unnecessary suffering from action. Take your decision, for example, the Ethics Committee representative says.
Probably
Your
if he
actions,
doesn't take the
namely
position,
destruction
they'll
of the
probably try to
village,
kill him.
caused a great deal of suffering. However, considering the damage the anomaly could have caused after your team lost control of the situation, it's clear that your motivation was ultimately pure harm reduction. I admire that kind of thinking in a high-pressure situation.
That's what I just noticed. They bombed the whole entire place. That means they bombed all the citizens, everything. That's crazy.
Feel a cool wave of relief wash over you.
Because
It
they
feels
actually
safe to
do
assume
that
at
in
this
the
point
armies
that
and
this
some
probably isn't
places
just a
they
big
do that.
front for your immediate termination. The agent sitting across from you seems to sense that that's what you're thinking, and assures you that she's being nothing but honest with you. The Ethics Committee has no need to be petty. They know everything, after all, and that's not an exaggeration. Their clearance is basically the equivalent to level 5, the highest in the Foundation.
Wow.
Every line ever redacted from an SCP Foundation file they were privy to. Every secret the Foundation has ever kept, they have absolute access to. And every decision the Foundation has ever made, the Ethics Committee has always had the final say, with veto power even over the O5 Council. And most importantly, all members of the Ethics Committee are former Foundation personnel, site directors, researchers, mobile task force operatives, all people whose decisions have caused pain and death. Much like jury duty.
So it's basically like the people at the top are people that do bad things. That's what it's sounding like.
Isn't a normal disciplinary hearing.
Or that have done bad things.
The cruel irony for a department of the Foundation devoted to ethical conduct is that it's actually complicit in pretty much all of the Foundation's worst moral crimes. After all, every action that the Foundation has ever performed has been performed with the permission and cooperation of the Ethics Committee. Take the infamous Procedure 110 Montauk, used to prevent the victims of SCP-231 giving birth. The Ethics Committee had a key role in designing the horrific procedure, and now they have to live with the soul-crushing knowledge of exactly what that procedure entails. And soon, you will
So they just be having
just
nightmares.
one of the many perks of joining the committee. It isn't the easiest job, the representative tells you. She's got the steely blank eyes of someone who has seen
that kind of seems like what happens with people that join the army, because people that join the army come back sometimes just messed up. Like some of them come back just, you know, just not the same as their usual self. Like they come back with PTSD and stuff like that. So a lot of nightmares and stuff like that.
Things that people were never meant to see. She continues, before we conclude the first part of your orientation, I suppose I should tell you about the Sowing Circle. That'll give you a good idea of what you're in for. She tells you that the Sowing Circle was the anomaly discussed in the 2017 Ethics Committee Roundtable. It's an anomaly so secretive that it was never given an official containment number or classification, but it was proposed as a solution to one of the Foundation's most nightmarish problems, the shortage of human infants. It is an ugly truth about the Foundation that a decent number of anomalies, such as SCP-2845 the Deer, require the sacrifice of live children as part of their containment procedures. For years, the Foundation has been stealing children from orphanages for the use in these rituals, but the Sowing Circle could solve this problem. It was a mummified human corpse, wreathed in the circle of its own dried-out intestines. The mummy produced seeds which, if consumed, could allow human women to produce litters of 12 babies with an 8-hour gestation period.
Ew,
the litters of a sow.
That's nasty.
Hence the name. This would solve the baby shortage handily. It was the job of the Ethics Committee to decide what would be the most ethical way to use this anomaly. In the end, despite their own personal moral disgust at the actions, their philosophy of harm reduction led them to one conclusion: using the device to impregnate already brain-dead patients, effectively turning them into comatose infant factories whose only purpose was to be used in horrific containment procedures.
This is crazy, to be honest. But alright guys, that's going to be it for this video. If you want to see more SCP videos, don't forget to smash that like button, because I will definitely do more of these type of videos. I actually do like doing these type of videos. So if you want to see more, smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm so that this channel can start to go up. Also share the video all across social media. Turn on the post notification bell, because I do these videos daily. And subscribe to the channel for more reactions. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.